Welcome to ComSpark. Today we're in Dayton, Ohio. I'm Scot Ganow and I'm on the Executive Host Committee, and I'll be your guest host today. And I'm with Darren Davey from the City of Vandalia. We're going to talk a little bit about information technology, security, and privacy. And Darren, I got to tell you, when I think of information technology and security, I don't think city governments. So what's going on with the City of Vandalia?
Well, in the past, I think a lot of city governments were silos. They were kind of doing their own thing. But over the past couple of years, we've really caught up with the needs for the consumer, for citizens, in terms of security risk, because we do have PCI type information, credit card type information we have a rec center, things like that. HIPAA information, we're doing EMS runs, things to that nature, and then just addresses, maps, data like that. So over the past, I'd say, probably 5 years, we've really worked hard at beefing up that security. We don't want to be the ones in the news. So investing in firewalls, investing in intrusion detection, working with partners to look at our systems and recommend solutions. So things really have changed over the past few years. So in terms of technology, back in the day, we had a few applications we used, but now we're pretty integrated into not only ourselves, but we share data with other organizations. And they will have their compliance requirements as well. So we deal with the state, federal government, and then just data sharing within the local area. So we got to make sure that that information is secure.
So you're treating it like a business like any other. So you're looking at today and you're looking at tomorrow with respect to technologies and risks that are coming. What are some of the emerging technologies you're looking at and considering?
The big data is a word we hear, and making sure that as we start to collect more data, as we start to share data with other people, that we're making sure that data is protected. So emerging technologies, things we will probably see in the future. You're going to see more security cameras. You're going to see integrations with business in terms of police and law enforcement working with the local businesses to have a more secure city. So protecting that data, sharing that data, and then one other thing would be drones. Drones is probably something that's going to be more readily available to cities in the future as we do search and rescue and things like that. We've implemented body cameras, and that's been a great asset to the city, both for the citizens and for the officers' protection. And making sure that if we're implementing some new technology, we want to make sure that we roll it out in a fashion where we're not just putting it out there and then worrying about the risks later. We need to make sure that when we implement something, we're making sure that we're working with security experts to let us know how to handle that data as we roll out new technology.
So I'm sure, as any city government, you've got a cast of thousands of waiting to help you with this, right? Staffing's not an issue, budget's not an issue. How do you keep up with these challenges in technology?
Vendors is definitely not an issue. There's a lot of people in this market that want to help out.
Yeah.
In terms of staffing, cities are small, and that is the hard thing. But it does allow us to manage things easier. It's easier for us to pilot projects. It's easier for us to do things like that. Staffing is one of the things. We actually partner with local colleges for internships and things like that. So that's been a great asset to staffing. But yeah, that is probably, as technology grows, it's hard for organizations to kind of see how to increase the IT staff as well.
And so you're running the whole thing. What are the challenges of being an IT manager, and what are some things you bring to the table you think make you effective?
Yeah, I would say predicting the future is the hard thing. Technology changes so much. Even in the medical industry, things are changing so much, where 10, 20 years ago, things progressed slowly. So I would say trying to determine what the needs are in the next 5 years, even next year. What are the needs going to be? And business can corporations can purchase things a little quicker than local government. We have to budget for things and set certain things to line items that we have to make sure we cover. So we can't just write a check for everything. We have to make sure we plan these things and we work with them, but having that flexibility to do that in the future. And I'd say just in terms of from an IT manager standpoint, working with the departments to figure out what their needs are every year. Every department needs are different. Some departments' needs are great, like police and fire. They change a lot. All the other agency or the other organization, not as much. So just kind of managing change, managing security, and just controlling that growth and the risk.
So you have challenges like any other business of any size, a diverse customer base, emerging needs, customer service while balancing security. Big issues, privacy. As you said before, you collect a lot of information. A lot of your citizens have questions about privacy. What are you seeing and doing at the corporate level with respect to privacy in Vandalia?
So we have different compliance we have to follow. The state actually did an audit with us lately, and they used the NIST standards framework for that. And that was actually very beneficial to us. And from that, they gave recommendations on things that we could do. So we have worked with the state, obviously, to do that. And then in terms of privacy, we do things like on our firewall, such as, we're checking the data that's going out. I'll get an email from someone that says, hey, this email got blocked. And I'm like, well, there's private information in that email. That's why it didn't come through. So we're doing things on the firewall level and then software internally to make sure that certain data is not getting out. Of course, at the end of the day, the end user is probably the biggest vulnerability. So we are working to have a training program, annual training program, refreshers, and then department-specific training that helps the employees at the employee level make sure that they are securing their data, make sure they're not sharing things that they shouldn't. And then the other thing would be, we shouldn't be keeping data we don't need to keep. There's a lot out there about big data, and my perspective is if we're not going to use it for something useful and it's something the citizens would want us to use it for, we should be getting rid of that data.
Best security is not having it in the first place, absolutely. Well, thank you for your time today, Darren. I appreciate it. To learn more about ComSpark, you can go to comspark.tech.